What is up, everyone? Welcome to season 3, episode 9 of DPF on Tap. As you can see in the right-hand corner, if you are watching, SeatGeek is one of our sponsors. So we want to say thank you to SeatGeek. There's a code, $20 off. It's Drunk Phil's Fan, no S at the end. So there's just one of us, Drunk Phil's Fan, for that. The other one that we want to talk about is Hidden Still Spirits. So I have their Pennsylvania Straight Rye Whiskey. They are located in Hershey. It's in an old Hershey chocolate factory, actually. Awesome restaurant, awesome food, awesome bourbon, gin, tequila, vodka, ready-to-drink cocktails. They just brought out a vodka and lemonade, so thank you to Hidden Stills for being our friends.
Also, really awesome service at the restaurant.
Oh yeah, it's impeccable. Yeah, it's chef. The chef is awesome. The food is delicious. They're doing some great stuff. Conshohocken is supplying us with some beers for our opening day, and some are left over. So what are we going to do? We wanted to say thank you. I have the Fransky in LA Golden Ale. They're located on Elm Street and Conshohocken, as well as King of Prussia. So thank you. And then one final one before we get into this. So I want to talk a little bit about the t-shirt that I have on. Rolling Boil Seafood Company. So I have they're on Instagram. So Sean lived in New Orleans for a while and learned how to do a proper New Orleans seafood boil. So he's going to be providing one for DPF that we're going to kind of donate to charity, which is Mike's charity, Colorectal Cancer Alliance. So he can bring this to you. He's providing the plates. He's providing the knives. You tell him how many people, and he can kind of cater it to, you don't like seafood? He's done a veggie one. If you like crab, shrimp, crayfish, and sausage, it's in there too. So corn on the cob, potatoes. So this is like a traditional seafood boil. He has a paddle. He's asked me, he's like, do you think I should bring like a bat, like a Yankees torpedo bat? And I says, no. I says, I don't want it to taste like shit, Sean. I was like, I'm afraid it's going to screw up the taste on us. We're going to get to pour beers in it, so I'm like so excited for this. So it should be pretty awesome. Man, so let's kick off the show, guys. The Phillies are 7-2. Awesome. And I'm going to kind of just highlight some good, bad, and ugly of it. So let me talk about some of the good. 356 on base percentage, very good.
Yeah, getting plenty of walks.
Yeah, 5th in walks. Yeah. So there's a couple teams above them. I don't know who the hell they played, but one team is like 20 more walks than them. So I think whoever they played has just like they couldn't find the plate with a compass. 6th in batting average, which is, again, awesome, very surprising. And the most surprising, there is a lowest chase rate in the league. I repeat, this is not a joke. This is not sarcasm. 24.3%. So just to give you an idea, last year they were averaging around 35%. Nick was at 40-something%. They were horrendous at chasing. I didn't see the change in spring training. I felt like they were chasing. I feel like I see a difference in them chasing in the, now. So these things are all the good part. Starting pitching, good, minus Nola. Nola's not been good. His ERA is not good. And we'll talk about Walker a little bit later. Huge surprise. Like, if that's all that we get from him, we've already gotten more this year than we did last year.
Yeah.
Like, literally, one start. The bad, Kepler's not been good. He's just not been good batting average-wise. His on-base percentage, because he has a lot of walks, has been good. Defense has been good. Everyone's defense has been good. I can't say it might even be great. JT throwing out runners, at a staggering pace has been absolutely amazing. He's getting older. You're like, is this guy done? He's not done behind the plate.
Not at all.
Be done at the plate. but I'm still not convinced at that.
Yeah, his bat's slowing down, but his arm isn't, and his pop time. I mean, he's still as quick as ever back there.
It's unbelievable.
Just a great athlete. He's just a great athlete. Yeah, but you can't have him batting up in the 4 or 5 spot. He's got to be down the lineup. You know?
Mike, what were those chase rate numbers that you were seeing too?
So I did see some stats earlier today. We've improved between 11% and 0.9%. If I could remember who the 11%er is, maybe I'll do a little reverse Google search here.
It might be Turner, because I think Turner's been pretty disciplined so far early in this year.
It's either Turner or, believe it or not, Castellanos. But I know the 0.9 because it stuck out to me. It's the lowest improvement, and that was Alec Bohm. So,
I mean, that it's just been amazing, and I think that while we played 2 terrible teams and the best team in the world, it's still, you're not chasing, right? They would chase against me, they would chase against anyone, and they're not doing it. Still not some smart or great decisions being made, but I've not seen terrible base running. I know that people want to destroy Stott. The dude's stealing. Should he have looked in? Yeah, he probably should have. Would he have caught it earlier? Maybe, but I don't really fault.
I was down there I was at that game, Chris, and I was sitting on the third baseline, and you saw him take off right away, and he was literally at second base when that catch was made. I mean, that ball was 100 miles an hour off of Schwarber's bat. He was like playing catch with the right fielder. He lined it right at him. I think Stott, should he have peeked in and maybe gotten back a little quick? I don't even know if he would have made it back then, as fast as that ball left the bat and got out to Hernandez. But that's a big play in that game. I mean, that prevented a run from scoring and making it a 1-run game, or so that was a big spot, and he needs to be better. I'm not blaming him, because I think it was a bang play either way, but he needs to be better.
And
really quick, Castellanos was the 11%. Wow. 7% for Trey. He's second. So
okay. So, and the bad is, and I feel bad for Jordan because he's considering changing his first name after Romano's performance. We'll just call you Orden today, Reese, and we thank you for chiming in. This guy is not good, and Dave Dombrowski kind of, other than Jeff Hoffman, guys, help me if there's been anyone he's ever signed that's been good in the bullpen. Corey, I'm going back and thinking Corey Knebel, Juris Familia, Kimbrel, just been terrible. Anywhere between 8 and 10 million, and if it's a 1-year deal, the dude's fucking trash. And Jordan Romano, he answered the questions like a man after the game. But I kind of find it difficult to understand a guy that's so, been playing baseball for so long. I don't know what's going on. I got to figure it out. I don't know. Someone says that to me, I'm like, you're either lying or you're full of shit. And there's a chance. So there is a chance, and this has happened to other players before, that he's not good at baseball anymore.
You never know with that injury. I mean, if you get to Jordan Romano from 3 years ago, 2 years ago, he was the lights out closer for the Blue Jays. I mean, he was getting 35, 37 saves, those last couple of years in Toronto. Then he has the arm injury last year. And sometimes that's all it takes. And I think we've seen in the past too, when closers lose it, they fucking lose it. It's not a slow progression for closers. It is just, because they're used to coming in and throwing as hard as they can, and get out of an inning, and it's fire. And you run out of bullets eventually. And, I hope that's not the case with him, because I think the Phillies are counting on him throwing those Hoffman innings, that 7, 8, 9 type innings. And right now you can't trust him, because he's walking guys, so many guys on base, every time he's out there. And other than the one game against Colorado where I thought he looked pretty decent, his fastball has no life, and that makes that slider really hittable.
Well, because it's so close in speed. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, one's 93 and the other one's 89. So it's like, and it's not moving a terrible amount like it needs to. So the other bad is Marsh. Marsh is just bad. He's a 4th outfielder at best. But I don't think that he should be in the plans. I think that there's, other things, and maybe we'll get to it later, but there's a obvious right-hand pitching hole. Because right now, what happens? Well, it's Kerkering, who can't pitch every day, and we wouldn't want him to. And then, Ruiz and Ross, were they brought here and designed, and is Joe Ross an eighth inning right-handed guy? Well, no.
I don't think he threw the ball well, Saturday when I was there. He came in 2 innings against the Dodgers and he threw the ball well. I mean, he would probably be the guy that I would think would get the first crack at those Romano innings. Right now he's a veteran. He's been around. I think he'll get the first crack at taking those innings. But yeah, that's definitely a hole. And I think the name I threw out to you last night, and I know he's a little long in the tooth, but David Robertson's still out there. Maybe the third time's the charm here with the Phillies for the guy. I mean, I think he's 39 years old, but last year he pitched with with Texas, 68 games. He had an ERA around 3 last year. It seems like the only team he doesn't pitch well is for the Phillies. I mean, every other year you look at his ERA, it's in the low 3s or the high 2s, and then he comes to the Phillies and it's up in the 4s and 5s. It doesn't make any sense, but I think he's a guy that maybe you keep him on your speed dial there, and if Romano keeps shit in the bed, you reach out and you try and get a veteran arm in here.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Robertson, the best thing about him is he's probably pretty good as Rich Hill is for my Immaculate Grid each morning, because I think he played for everyone.
He's bounced around, that's for sure.
Replacing that hole, I don't know. You have to do it in house now. It's Ross, Ruiz, Kerkering. I looked at AAA. There's just not that dude down there. Mercado came up, and this dude was just a fucking nightmare. He was like Brogdon that ate, had one more meal. But
just follow me on this one. What if, God forbid, we brought up Painter a little early, Ranger gets healthy, and Ranger does the 7th or 8th inning, right?
Yeah, but it's still a left-hander. Do you know what I mean? That
True.
means we're so left-handed heavy. It's that's where it's tough. It's Strom, Suarez, Alvarado, and that's I think it's important to have a lefty and a righty, but I would still love to have a closer. I don't want to wait till July 31st for it. I just don't want to wait for that. Yeah. I think there's too many important wins. We already have 2 blown saves. There's 7 games.
Alvarado, other than that one game, and he ended up getting the save anyway. Mm-hmm. That's his only hiccup all spring. I mean, it's spring training, and since the season started, he's been dominant other than that one outing. And I think with him, it all starts with control. You can usually tell by the first pitch he throws if you're getting good Alvarado or bad Alvarado from that first pitch. Yeah. If he looks like he's pulling the ball a little bit, throwing that cutter in the dirt, you're going to have trouble because then he takes something off it. Now it's all of a sudden it's hittable. But when he's on, he's unhittable. So I for right now, I'm comfortable if they keep Alvarado in that 9th inning role. I'm sure he won't. They'll mix and match. If the 8th inning there's lefties coming up, they'll probably use Alvarado in those high leverage, against lefties. But right now, I'm comfortable with him. But I would love another, just a right-handed option that you have confidence in, coming in and getting outs. Kerkering may be that guy. I mean, he was brought into a tough spot yesterday.
Did well.
He did well. Gave up the double. What are you going to do? But I thought he threw well. He almost wiggled his way out of that with only 1 run. Romano created that mess, and he almost got out of it. But
yeah, I mean, he's Romano's the low leverage person, but this dude isn't a multi-inning low leverage person. And then you got Carlos Hernandez or whatever the fuck his name is. If he never sees the mound, that's good. That's normally good because we're either kicking ass or more than likely getting our ass kicked. So we'll see. Yeah. I mean, you know what? There's the trope. Oh, it's early. I don't know. Romano was terrible last year, and he's terrible this year, and he was terrible in spring.
Yeah.
So the thing that I don't like is Topper's already talking about he might have a dead arm. You talk about that in July when you're going into the All-Star break. Oh, everybody's going to get a blow and their arm will come back. It's April. And this
Yeah.
guy's got a dead arm already. Like that's not
Unacceptable.
good.
Yeah, coming back from injury though, I can kind of see, if he was ramping up he might have threw more in the winter than he normally would have, trying to ramp back up from being out half the season last year. But if he doesn't get his velocity back, he's useless. I mean, that's going to be the key. He's got to get that fastball back up in the 96 range that he used to throw and make that slider more effective. Other than that, he's just throwing batting practice.
I mean, all of the Phillies' problems stem from Canada, so I'd like to blame Canada. It's Topper not managing at points, and Romano, whatever he wants to be called. So blame Canada. Thank you, South Park, for that.
Yeah,
we go.
Jeez. Well, to go on your point, Chris, about the good that's going on this year, I'm going to talk about a guy who's been outstanding, Edmundo Sosa. That guy has been out of this world. And I think when he's in the lineup, there's a different attitude. It looks like they're having a little more fun playing the game. There's a little more excitement. There's a little more bounce. There's a little more pep in the step. I think he brings that attitude to the team. I mean, right now he's hitting, I don't know, 550. I mean, that's pretty good. 550.
Give
I
or
like
take.
that. I like that. I posted on the page last night. I wanted to throw it out there to you guys and get your opinion. I would love to see Topper use him like the Cardinals used to use Placido Polanco, where he was like a pseudo everyday player, but he didn't have a permanent position. So he'd play second base one day, shortstop, third base, left field. He'd end up playing 4 or 5 games a week, but never in the same spot. He would move around. You'd give guys days off, especially against left-handed pitching. I think he should be in the lineup somewhere.
Yes. And Chris, it's a great point. I love that you put out there. Like Kepler has been terrible against left-handers. Like not this year. Let's not even talk, for his career.
Yeah.
So like maybe a tough lefty, you can put him there, but then there's a worry there, right? Because you told Kepler he's your everyday starting left fielder. Things change, right? I think, baseball's a tough business. They want to win. But if he can play center field, I didn't see any issues.
No, he tracked two balls catches. Good. Yeah.
So then Rojas or Marsh is expendable.
Yeah.
And we felt that way for a long time. The other thing is, like, when you look down at Crawford's, like, I've been following him a little bit. He's hitting like 285. This dude's only striking out 9% of the time. Like, that's really good moving up to AAA. So, like, you're just holding that center field spot because Crawford's coming, right?
Yeah.
But Chris, like, who do you choose? Like, is it let's say Sale. Who's coming out? Is it Stott or is it Kepler?
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to start. Edmundo in center, so I think that's the problem. But I could see against Sale, you have Rojas in center and Sosa in left. And throw a couple extra righties in the lineup to face Sale.
Yeah.
Stott's hitting 290 something. I think I'm okay with rolling Stott out there, especially the defense that he plays. So maybe you make those moves. I think Edmundo can hold his own out in left field. I mean, we went to the World Series with Schwarber playing left field, right? So, if he's going to hit like this, and he's not going to hit 550 all season, let's not be crazy. Well, but if he can hit in the 280, 290 range, I'm happy with that.
Hell yeah!
As a right-handed back,
that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if he could stay in there, and his best year was with the Cardinals when he played 113 games. I think he's a guy that the more you play him, the more consistent he'll be, and his glove is good wherever you put him. He could play short, second, third in the infield. He's got a real good glove, and he's starting to adapt to the outfield. So I'd love to see him play more. Not just for his production, but the attitude he brings, the
swagger.
The team, they all look like they're miserable playing the game, and he looks like he's having a good time. Yeah, and I like that.
And Chris, there's some pages out there that are better than math than us, and I'd love to see what his last 162 games starting, what he's doing.
Yeah.
What is he hitting? How many home runs, RBIs, runs, all of that?
Yeah.
When you see that all together, you're like, shit, like maybe this dude does deserve a chance.
I mean, when he filled in last year for Turner, when Turner was out for those 2-3 weeks with the hamstring, and he played well. I think he hit 270, played good defense. I mean, I'll take that. I mean, 270 in today's game, Jesus Christ, that's like a 300 hitter, 20 years ago.
He's way beyond serviceable. He's a great defender. He's a great, on the field guy, and it seems like he brings that energy, and like he's like doing the right things. I don't know many times other than when he hit the fucking umpire when he was playing short that he did like the wrong thing, but
that was when he was with the Cardinals. We'll let that go.
Yeah.
Now I got to Google that.
He smokes them. He smokes them. Hell of a play going up the middle. Yeah, just a 360 throw to ear hold the umpire.
I think following up on that is something I wanted to talk about, right? And I know people are going to start to light up the comments when I say this, but our star, our guy that loves Philly, number 3, MV3, he just kind of looks like he's had a little bit of a slow start. And I think what I want to discuss with you guys is what happens. Usually what happens is he rights the ship and he hits his 285, 295, 30 something home runs, 100 RBIs. But what happens if he doesn't? And is there something wrong like that the Phillies aren't telling us physically with him, like Stott last year, the whatever you want to call it, wrist, elbow, shoulder? No one will give you a straight answer, really. And I guess I just wanted to pick your guys' brains on, what does that look like? Does he need to sit a game? Does he need to, I don't know, find someone else to play first base and goes back to the outfield? I just want to throw it out there to discuss because over the last few games, it's just looked like he's swinging at that pitch that's down and away, kind of like a left-handed Castellanos, and he's kind of just trying to find his way, in my opinion. And so the thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to say something facetious at first, and then I'm going to give an honest opinion. I wonder if he needs a tetanus shot because he got that prison tattoo that's the fanatic on him.
Could be.
He's just stopping right since that, so there's a possibility of that. Bryce, I think, in a bad year, he's still going to hit 30 home runs and have close to 100 RBIs. What are you seeing now? There's a little bit of mopiness to him, right? I think that there is, and we saw it last year. And, is he a contract? I want my contract. And now he sees Vlad Jr. get a fucking humongous contract. And he's like, I want a piece of that. I'm better than him. I deserve that. Mike, I don't know the answer to that, but I feel like that contract thing, like, I don't know if I would have brought it up. You win the World Series and it's still like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, you're going to be 40 after it. Like, why would I want to give you more money? Like, or years? It's not happening. Bryce, we saw this last year, and I think like what Bryce needs is like that one time he connects and feels good, and then he starts to be him until there is an injury. I don't see anything that would indicate an injury to me. I think it's just going through the motions, and he's just kind of having a little bit of bad luck right now.
Yeah, I think too, if you look back on his history, he's a little bit of a slow starter. Most years, I mean, I'm sure there's a year or two where he got off to a hot start, but I think career-wise, in general, he's a slow starter. But I saw you had this topic out there, Mike, so I pulled something down. And something that shocked me is he's had 27 batted balls this year that he's put in play. Only 2 of them are labeled as barreled up. So that's only like 7.4% of balls in play that they're considering he barreled it up. And that's down, like his career average is like 12.8%. So it's down in the early part of the season. But I agree with Chris. I think the guy's too damn good. And I think he needs that one game where he hits like 2 home runs and then he'll take off. I don't think he's hurt. I mean, he's diving around, making plays in the field, going first to third, second to home, scoring, from first on a gapper. He's running the bases like he normally does. So I don't think there's an injury. I do think the last couple of years we've seen him be susceptible to that fastball away, and I think that's more of him trying to pull the ball rather than driving it, taking that ball and driving it to left field. But I think he'll get there. I want to see him do more of the two-strike approach he used to do, where he would get wide and shorten up. I mean, he still has enough power to hit a home run out of that stance. He's done it in the past. I would love to see him go back to that, where he's just trying to get the barrel to the ball and hit it hard somewhere rather than swing it from his ass, all the time.
Yeah, and it's been no surprise. He said he doesn't like batting anywhere but third, and he's not batting third. So does that have something to do with it? Is he seeing different pitches at 2 than he did at 3?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I think you're gonna touch on it later too. I think part of the problem. I think we'll get to it in your last subject there, Chris.
Yeah. Yep.
Cowboy says get off TikTok and play baseball.
Yeah, no more matchas. He might be sad because he's not making matchas.
Maybe.
Some banana bread.
Appreciate the discussion, guys.
Yeah. So when we're kind of creating these podcasts, we're like, do you want to watch us or do you want to watch the Phillies? So we always try to do this around the Philly schedule. Well, the Phillies have 16 games in the next 16 days. So that made it difficult for us. But then I'm like, this is where we're going to find things out about them, because we played the Rockies, a bad team. The Nationals, an up and coming, but still a bad team. Now we're going to go to the Braves and Cardinals. The Braves are bad. They're real bad right now. And you need to knock their dick in the dirt and put your, foot on the neck. We can say that on the podcast, but we can't post that. We posted that once and Facebook's wait a minute, you're trying to incite violence. And we're like, all right, fucking relax here. We're a fucking sports page. The Cardinals just got their clock cleaned by the Red Sox. So they're coming off losing 3. Yeah, we're seeing them in 3 days, but still, they're not doing great. They were giving up just tons of runs, tons of hits. The Giants have been surprisingly good. I think they're 8-1 or in first place, so.
That entire NL West is the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Padres are all playing really well.
Yeah, and the Giants' pitching's real good. They're hitting like they've been doing enough, but I didn't see anything that kind of stood out to me. The Marlins, they're always a problem for whatever reason. So hopefully that demon's been exercised, because not cleaning their clock and sweeping their ass at home it's a mistake. Something happened bad, because you have to be able to do it. And then this 16 games ends with at the Mets away. So 421 to 423, that's got to be circled on your calendar as a player, because they're the ones that knocked you out. So you have to have some chip on your shoulder for it. So, what do we expect in these next 16 games? I don't know. We're going to find out what team this really is, because, where they are now, they're really good. But we're going to find out, they're obviously not going to be whatever winning percentage they're at now, 700. But should they be 5, 6, 7 games above 500 after this? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable with a 10-6 record out of these 16 games. My biggest concern, and I think it's going to be a running theme all year, is 16 straight games, that bullpen. And the way Topper, he shuts guys down, this guy's unavailable this night, this guy's unavailable this night. So you're going to have those games where your only options are the Hernandezes and the Rosses and the Tanner Banks of the world to come in and try and get those last couple of outs in a game in this stretch, because if you can't use Strahm every night, you can't use Kerkering every night. And we don't want to use Romano more than once or twice in 16 games at this point, but you can't use all these guys. So I think that's going to be the biggest concern. And if you have a game where, the starter gets banged around, early and has to come out of the game in the 3rd or 4th inning, now you're really in trouble with that many games in a row. Someone might have to take it in the chin in the bullpen and come out and give you 4 and just throw till his arm falls off, to save it for the rest of the games. But that's my biggest concern. I think, we showed we can play with the Dodgers. So any of these other teams coming up, aren't going to be as good as the Dodgers.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Chris, that's the bullpen's the worry, right? Because like Romano, like he's not a long inning guy. If you get one out of him, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So like he's in mop up and he does one, and then what? You're going to throw Carlos out there for the remaining 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, or I don't want Strom pitching multiple innings.
No,
Like,
it'll be Ruiz and Ross and
yeah.
Tanner Banks. Those are the guys that are going to have to eat those innings if you have a rocky start in this stretch of games.
Tanner Banks is another one. I'm not convinced about this dude. I don't know if he provides any worth because I'm not bringing him in against a tough left-hander.
No, he's not a strikeout pitcher, per se. He's funky lefty. That, he's got to fool guys. And I mean, the Phillies have too many right-handed and left-handed. They have too many guys like that are going to pitch to contact, and that could lead to some bad things. You want strikeouts in your bullpen, but
yep.
They don't have many of those guys right now. But that's my worry. But 10-6, I would take that.
I mean, I think that would be, then what? You're still not. You're 9 games over 500. Okay, that's great. And when you were talking, our boy Boise wants an edit or a dump button because I guess he doesn't want Dugan talking as much. or it might have been me. I'm not sure.
All right, so let's move on to our favorite guy, Aaron Nola.
That's a Nola.
That's a Nola. So I'm gonna give my opinion on Nola. And it might be a little different than you guys. That start in Washington was terrible. He was not good against Washington, but I thought he was really good against the Dodgers. To go out there against the Dodgers, six innings, only 3 runs. But his biggest problem is the home runs. I mean, that if he could solve that, every run he's given up this year has been on a home run. If he could solve that problem, he could go from being a good pitcher to a really good pitcher. Because he's
Chris, do you think 6 innings with 3 runs at a 4.50 ERA is good though?
In today's game, it is, and against the Dodgers, I'm good with that. Against that offense for the Dodgers, I'm okay with it. Now, against some of the weaker competition, if he goes out and does that against the Marlins or somebody like that, no, that's not. He needs to go 7 and give up 2 runs, against the Marlins team for me to consider that a good start. But I mean, we've seen him capable of those starts. We've seen him do it in the playoffs. We've seen him do it in the regular season, where he's been dominant. And I think he has it in him. I also think he's one of the guys that's most affected by the pitch clock, especially when guys get on base. I think he rushes himself, and that's when he starts making mistakes. And the breaking ball isn't as sharp, and he hangs pitches or throws fastballs that tail back over the middle. I think he's so damn worried about that clock that he loses focus on making his pitch. You can almost see it coming. Like in that Nationals game, he gets the first 2 outs, then he hits a guy, then you see the base hit coming, and then you got Bell coming up, and you go, oh shit, it's coming. It's coming. And that's like the biggest problem I have with him. Yeah.
So how do you figure that out? Does he need a psychologist? Do you need someone to come out? You know what I mean, Chris? Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was going to say, Dugan. You said he needs to figure it out. We're like 80 episodes in 3 years, and we said the same thing every time. He's not figuring it out.
I know.
So
I know, but I still think he's a quality starter. He's put it this way. We have fun busting his balls and making fun of him on the page. I don't think he necessarily pitches to the level of shit that we give him. I think we go overboard with the shit that we give him, but it's fun. The meatballs and all this shit. It's fun to do because he does. I mean, I took my nephew to a game last year, and he was like, "Are we going to see anybody hit a home run?" And I said, "Well, Nola's pitching, so the other team's definitely going to hit one." And they did, of course. It's going to happen. It's like clockwork. But I don't know how he fixes that because, like you said, it's been like a 3-year problem here where he's given up 30+ home runs every year. But if you look at his stats, like that's the only runs the guy gives up. he doesn't give up, 4 or 5 hits an inning normally and 3 runs. It's usually a single, a walk, and boom, a 3-run homer. If he keeps the ball in the yard, I think he can be very effective. And that,
We consider just starting him in yards that are really, really big in pitchers' yards.
I don't know. I don't know.
Steve
Well, yeah, I mean, like another, you know what? Maybe like they'll just change the park for him. I think that's what they can do is they can just move the fences back at CBP.
There you go.
I don't know, 100 feet.
higher wall.
Yeah. So it is, look at Nola's stats from like every year. Like he's either a 4.5 ERA, which is what he is right now, right? I mean, I think he's a 6.5.
It's higher,
right
yeah,
now.
it's higher now. I could tell
But
you.
for that one game, but I think he's in the 6s. But he's either a 4.5 or a 3.5. That's who he is.
Yeah.
That's literally who he is.
I would take that though. I mean, in 2024, last year he was a 3.57.
Well, the bad news is, Chris. So let's go through. 21, he's a 4.5.
Yeah.
22, he's a 3
3.25. Yeah.
And then
it's every other year.
And then so we're fucked this year. We're in for a 4.5.
Yeah. Yep. It's it's every other year it seems like. But the home runs, 4 home runs in 11 innings it's obscene. But they're all having that problem. Walker, Wheeler's given up 2 home runs in his 2 starts. Sanchez has given up 3 home runs, I think, now in his 2 starts. Because he gave up 2 yesterday and he gave up 1 against the Rockies. So, our starters are giving up way too many home runs in the beginning part of the season here.
And that Teoscar, like hitting 2 to right field, like in gale force winds almost. That dude's a monster.
That's what I mean. You take him out of the game and Sanchez pitched a great game, Hernandez, and the double he hit, was a great pitch down the way, and he just kind of threw his hands at it and hooked it down the line, So
when you watch a Nola game, like and Conforto's in or Bell's in, there's a home run.
Oh yeah,
it's guaranteed.
Yeah, really killer.
Conforto and Bell, they're hitting bombs, and it's just.
I just think if the way, like I saw Boise's comment, and I agree with him. I think if Luzardo keeps throwing the way he's throwing, that makes Nola your 4, and a lot of teams would be really fucking happy with an Aaron Nola as their number 4.
Oh yeah.
So I'm good with that.
Steve just wants the offense to score more runs for him.
Well, yeah, there's always been that, but like last year he got, I think, in the top 10 of run support. So there's this belief, but like trust us, we've looked at the stats. It's just not true. That he's not supported.
And both can be true. Like that Washington Star, a lot of people are like, well, the offense only scored 1 run. Yeah, but he gave up 5 and 5 in the third. Like both of them could suck on the same day, and they both did. And
you're deflated, and so the Phillies have not jumped out to leads. And then when they did,
yesterday was really the first time they got to a starter, and that was only because Glasnow lost his shit and was walking everybody.
But you have that feeling, guys. Like I got to assume everyone that's listening, and I know you're like, is that it for us? Are we done scoring? Unless,
I thought yesterday. I thought we were done at 6 runs. I said we don't have to score again, and you saw them chipping away. Oh shit, we're gonna lose this goddamn game, after having a 6-2 lead. So it was nice to see them, sack up a little bit.
Sack up.
Yeah,
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was nice.
And Nola, it's another thing with him, right? So he's around the plate too much. I think that's his problem more. Like that's what I would tell him to do is like, he's not mean. He's not going to pitch inside. Nola does not pitch inside. He does not do it. He throws that pitch that looks inside, but then is a strike.
Yeah.
It's the Robin Roberts syndrome. If you're around the plate 90% of your pitches, the guys are like, fuck it, I'm going to lean in.
Swing. I'm just going to swing.
I'm just going to lean in.
Yeah. The other night when I was at the game and I was watching him pitch, the one thing I did keep an eye on, and it is another problem that I think he has. He gets ahead 0-2 a lot, and then he fucking nibbles, and it ends up getting to 2-2, 3-2. Guys are fouling pitches off. his pitch count's going up, and then he gives up a 2-strike hit. Like
Yeah.
he gives up more 2-strike hits than any pitcher I think I've ever fucking seen. And a lot of times he's got the guy buried in the count, and he doesn't put him away, and he doesn't put him away. He starts nibbling, and sometimes that knuckle curves his out pitch and gets guys to swing over it. Other times they sit, they let it go, and then they work themselves back in the count. But I think he's a good pitcher. I don't think he's the ace that some people think he is, but I think he's and if he's going to be a fucking 4, God damn it, sign me up every day of the week for that,
0-2, throw it right here. Give him a bow tie.
Yeah.
And see how things change for you.
Changes
Then you throw
up.
the outside. Yeah, I really think that might be. He needs a mean streak.
Yeah, a little bit.
He doesn't have that.
And I think
He's
a lot
also-
of the
he's
hate,
New Orleans.
a lot of the Noah hate just comes from his demeanor. He's got that Eeyore dopey look on his face.
Oh, well.
Whether he hit a home, he gave up a home run or struck the guy out.
Yeah, I mean, Nola's like, no one likes me. And we're like, oh, Steve likes you. And he's like, no one cool likes me.
Oh man.
But there's my defense of Nola, I guess. Sort of.
Awesome. Well, it's that time of the week again, guys. It's the dumbass of the week. We're moving away from Florida today. We're going to go to the wonderful Midwest town of Akron, Ohio, where I lived for a few years. A man we'll call Jordan. Sorry, Jordan, in the comments today. But this guy, Jordan, was observed by civilians on the roof of a closed down mental health facility in Akron, Ohio, just a couple weeks ago on March 29th. When Jordan noticed a police drone above him, he decided it was a good idea to evade any police arrest by entering a chimney and descending into the building. So unfortunately for Jordan, he was a hair larger than the chimney and lodged himself in said chimney while he was trying to evade the police. So after the fire department spent a little over 2 hours to free Jordan, he was arrested, taken to the hospital for a mental evaluation. Go figure on that one. He was trying to break into a closed down mental health facility. And he also had to be treated for some injuries that he got while lodged in the chimney and saved by the Akron Fire Department. Jordan is currently out on $10,000 bond, awaiting trial for burglary and criminal trespass. And I guess the moral of this story is I would, if you're seeking mental assistance, I would go to a building that was open and use the front door rather than the chimney. That's why Jordan's our dumbass of the week.
Yeah. Another Jordan.
Something with the name.
Jordans are definitely going to be a problem. So, Dugan, thanks for talking about Nola. I'm going to say I was wrong. Someone bet me at the beginning of the year. They says, I will give you, and it was a large amount of money. If you bet $1, I will give you this large amount of money. And all Walker has to do is pitch once for 6 innings with no hits, with less than 2 walks. And I was like, what? I'd rather have the $1. I'm not just going to give away the $1. It's not going to happen. Walker was awesome. And why was that? Here's kind of my opinion of what I saw about him different. It wasn't velocity. There was no drastic change in this dude's velocity. He threw strikes. He had confidence. And, I think there's a certain point as a pitcher, I think confidence is a huge thing. If you're afraid and nibbling around the plate, you're going to nibble around the plate and you're eventually going to walk people. Then you have to come in and throw strikes. But I didn't see that. But the other thing I liked from Walker is he wasn't afraid to throw backwards. And it's something I love, as a former pitcher. Throwing the curveball first pitch. It's not always like a fastball. Throwing his still split finger. But he pitched great. If we can expect this half of this from him, honestly. 6 innings and 3 runs, like as your number 5 starter. We're going to be a fucking wagon. This team is just like, how many games did we lose last year because our 5th starter blew?
Yeah.
We win
and it was pick a name out of a hat at some points. It was just,
it wasn't just Walker. It was like whoever.
Yeah.
I think confidence breeds confidence, and I'm behind this dude. As much as we clown on him, like, you want this dude to do good, right? Because he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And now that he's not, like, I don't know. I don't expect this next time. But shit, if he throws another 6 innings and gives up 3 runs, I'm like, that's 12 innings with 3 runs given up. I never expected that. 3 runs is normally, 0.0 innings pitch for him last year. So, kudos. And he's a man. He stood there. He knew that we were booing him. I was cheering him on opening day. Everyone else was booing him. I was not. It's a kindler, gentler DPF. So
I think you hit it on the head. He had a little bit of swagger in that start. I think you also go back to our last conversation. He threw it aside a little bit to get folks off of that splitter. I don't know if it was a JT conversation or a combination of Caleb and JT, but he looked different than even in the spring, in my opinion. And it's a great call out to say, we've gotten more than we thought we were going to get out of him in one game. Let's see what he does the rest of the way.
Yeah. I don't want to get too excited over one start. It was good to see. I mean, the one start was against the Rockies, who are going to be one of the bottom feeders in the league. But it was good to see. And I think throwing strikes was huge. There we go. Cowboy and I are on the same page. I mean, I'm hoping, obviously, I want everyone that puts on a Phillies uniform to do well. I want them to go out there and have the best game they ever had every time they step on that field. So I'm rooting for Walker to do well, because if he does well, the Phillies are going to do well. And that's the key. And Chris, you're right. He stood up there. He's taken all the shit for the last couple of years, been left off the playoff roster, hasn't pitched in the last 2 playoffs. That's a big pill to swallow. And then to come back and, kind of luck into a spot in the rotation with Ranger getting hurt, and then deliver on his first start and come out and throw the ball really well. I mean, he's got the ultimate weapon too, because he's got one of the best pickoff moves for a right-hander I've ever seen. His feet are so fast. So he has that weapon in his back pocket. You got JT as a weapon behind the plate, throwing guys out, stealing. So he can steal some outs too. That way, when guys get on base. But we'll see. His next game, is Wednesday night against the Braves. The Braves are struggling right now. They're not hitting the ball. Be aggressive. Go after them. Make them beat. Don't beat yourself. And I agree. If he can go out there and give you 5-6 innings of 3-run ball, I'd take that out of my number 5.
We have a lot more memes for him that are positive that we're just not able to use. So, like, we did a lot of work too, Taiwan. So, like, the better you play, the more we're able to put them out there. We have, like, Taiwan Brick Walker, Taiwan Skywalker. We got Star Wars ones. We have fucking amazing ones out there. Like, let's do it again.
I agree. I'm rooting for the guy, and I think if he throws well, then maybe you can use Ranger in the bullpen. And now your bullpen's a little bit better, and maybe Ranger can stay healthy because he's not pitching 6 innings every time out, and he's pitching, an inning or 2, a couple days a week. And he becomes more effective, So it'd be interesting.
I like 2 things in the bullpen: a guy that's like ultra fired up, and a dude that doesn't have a pulse.
Yeah.
And we kind of have both. Alvarado is like, ultra fired up, and then Ranger, like, you really would have to put like one of those things on him and be like, is this dude alive?
Yeah, he's got ice in his veins for sure.
Yep. So we touched on it a little bit earlier too. I wanted to talk about, I was at the game Saturday when Alec Bohm batted 4 times and saw a total of 5 pitches. And I'm up there yelling like, Jesus Christ, take a fucking pitch, will you? Like, especially in certain situations, guy walks a guy, how about you take a fucking pitch? 9th inning, Harper leads off with a hit. A hit. It should have been ruled an error, but now Tanner Scott, you got the tying run coming to the plate. Oh no, let's swing at the first pitch and ground into a double play. Like totally take the pressure off the pitcher when you do that. I like keeping pressure on the pitcher, but like you said, the chase rate, is down for the Phillies, which is good. But I was looking at like first pitch swinging in MLB, and the average is around 31% for the league swinging at the first pitch. The Phillies team average right now is 32.1%. They're swinging at the first pitch. So you have about, I won't count Rojas and Clemens. They don't have enough at bats, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6 guys right now that are above the league average. The highest kind of surprised me because I totally expected it to be Bohm. I thought Bohm would be the highest, but Harper swings at the first pitch 45% of the time this year.
Wow. That's an amazing number.
Yeah.
Almost half the time.
Yep. Kepler is at 44.1%. Castellanos is 42.9. Our buddy Bohm's at 41.7. Real Muto's 33.3, and Turner is right at the Phillies average of 32.1. The lowest is Bryson Stott. He's only swung at the first pitch 3.2% of his at-bats, which equates to one time in 31 plate appearances.
So, Chris, I think there's a correlation to something we talked about earlier with chase rate. They're like, listen, I know if it's a third or fourth pitch, it's going to be like something I would chase. The first pitch, they're more than likely going to try to get a strike. So why not fucking swing early? Right?
Yeah.
Maybe there is a really a deep correlation between those two.
It's possible. Yeah. And you're not getting deep in accounts. You're getting better pitches to hit. Most likely it may not be a fastball. Yeah. Something hard, something straight. The other thing I took a look at as far as swinging at the first pitch, and unfortunately I couldn't find data on the results if they actually put the ball in play on that first swing. So I have results of at bats that guys swung at the first pitch. So either they swung and missed, they fouled it off, whatever. Harper and at bats that Harper swings at the first pitch, he's hitting 353 overall. He's 6 for 17.
Keep swinging, Bryce.
Yeah. Kepler's 1 for 13. So that's an 0.77.
But he's hit it hard, right? Like, I think every Kepler one that I've seen, like, he's really hit the ball hard.
He's hitting some tough luck. A lot of shots right at the second baseman.
Yep.
Castellanos is 3 for 14. That's 214. Bohm is 4 for 15. So 267. JT's 3 for 9, 333. Turner's 4 for 8 at 500. And then if you go down to Schwarber, who's actually only swung at the first pitch 22% of the time, he's 5 for 9, 556. So they're having success in the at-bats. A team average is 301 in the at-bats that they swing at the first pitch. Now, like I said, that may not be the result of actually swinging at that first pitch, but in an at-bat where they swung at the first pitch, they're hitting 301 as a team. So maybe there is some correlation in that. Being aggressive, getting a better pitch to hit. I don't like it in every situation. They're like that Bohm the other night. I wish he would have been a little more patient in that ninth inning.
Chris, that's kind of what I wanted to ask. Think about teams, and Mike, think about teams we've been on 1 through 9. Like, how many of those guys would know when the take should be on? Like, would know it, and know baseball enough to say, you know what? He just walked 2 guys in a row. It's the same pitcher. There's no fucking instance where any player should swing at the first pitch thrown.
Wait till you get a strike, even.
Yeah.
What
about the old take sign?
Yeah.
Can we implement that? I mean, is there a take sign? I'd love to know that. Like, do the Phillies have a take sign?
I was surprised a couple times with Schwarber this week. Like, he did swing at the 1-3-0, but there were a couple 3-0s that he took fastballs right down the middle, and I was like, oh shit! Like, I thought he'd have the green light and be letting it fly right away.
Yeah,
it surprised me when he didn't swing.
He's like, him and Bryce. Like, maybe they're the guys that are like, listen, they have such good eyes. Like, you can trust them too. But like, Bohm doesn't seem to be that smart baseball wise.
Yeah. And it's
I
the
don't
same
know.
problem he had in the playoffs. I remember against the Mets, he went up there swinging first pitch every fucking time, you know. And he said in that interview, I'm not going to change, and he surely hasn't. You know, he hasn't changed.
I want to answer your question though. Like almost 30 years ago, I would say most of the folks that we played with, Chris, would know that. Almost 30 years later, I don't think they coach it. I don't think they emphasize it, and I don't think they have a take sign. Just maybe they do for, a 3-0 pitch if you get the green light, but I don't think they have a. I don't think they have a take sign, and that's just my opinion and from what I've seen, over the last 10 years.
It's such a change of paradigm, right? And you're right. 30 years ago when we were playing, it was like, yeah, you just knew when to do it or when not to. Or like, I don't know. I feel like there's some teams where like guys were so athletically gifted or like just so stupid that they're like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And if it turns out good, you're like, oh wow, like he got his pitch. But like, I still think you can get your pitch and take a pitch.
Yeah.
And
I think, if we all took a look in the mirror and we saw all this, salt and pepper beards and salt and pepper hair, game's not played the way it used to be, fellas. The game is not the game we grew up with. And, the other night, Saturday night, I'm at the game. Phillies get the first 2 runners on. Marsh at the plate, your 9 hitter, and they don't bunt. And that's the inning that ended up with the line drive double play, from Schwartz.
That was unacceptable.
I'm sitting there, it's screaming bunt. It's screaming bunt. And 20 years ago, it's a bunt without even thinking about it. Like everybody in the ballpark would know the guy was bunting. And it just, they don't play the game that way anymore. And it frustrates the hell out of me. I was sitting next to a woman at the game and I said something. I was like, oh God, they got a bunt here. And when he didn't, I was like, shit, they just don't play baseball the way they used to. And she's like, my grandfather played in the Cleveland Indians organization. She goes, I watch games with him all the time. And all he does is sit there and go, what the fuck? They're not bunting here. What the fuck? They're not doing this. What the fuck? He's like, I don't even recognize this game, that I grew up playing. And it's true. It's different even from, a couple of 50-year-old guys. The game's different from when we were growing up.
Well, you guys know I listen to the radio normally. Yesterday, I was like, you know what? Let me check out Schmidt and Kruk and T-Mac. And it's a really poignant point along with what you're saying, like Dugan said, that they, there was a bunt that should have happened, and it was the 2-hitter. And Schmidt said, back in my day, my 2-hitter would have, this would have been a bunt situation. And Kruk said, well, yeah, back in your day, like your 2-hitter was Larry Boa, and this is Trey Turner. So it's
true.
different,
it's
right?
True. The game has changed. I mean, guys used to be catchers used to be defensive. Now they have to be able to hit. Shortstop used to be defensive. Now they got to be a hit.
Shortstop was an 8-hitter almost all the time.
Yeah, your center fielder was like a leadoff slap hitter, that's just the way it was. I mean,
could steal and
it's great. And I thought the funny thing watching the game yesterday was Schmidt talking about being down in the cages.
Yeah.
And avoiding coaching because it was obvious he doesn't agree with that uppercut swing that Kevin Long is teaching. And I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest power hitters in baseball history disagreeing with the way, guys are swinging the bat today. I think that speaks volumes about, I think there's certain guys, certain body types, certain people with bat speed that can handle that uppercut swing. It's not for everybody. It's not a cookie cutter swing. And I think they ruined a guy like Scott Kingery with that swing, trying to teach him all this uppercut shit. Just be a line drive fucking hitter, man. Like Tony Gwynn used to say, his home runs were mistake doubles, doubles that went over the fence.
Yeah.
Because he was just trying to hit a line drive. And I wish more guys had that approach rather than this uppercut swing. And Schmitty, you could tell he was biting his tongue. And I think
that was an awesome spot.
And I think it speaks volumes when you got a guy like him talking about how these guys swing the bats today.
And Chris, when you were talking about the salt and pepper thing, you'll have to show me your setup. Like, I don't know how you can see all our viewers because I don't see it on the screen right now between us 3 guys.
There's no pepper, right?
Yeah.
No. Not with 3 daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Hey, great discussion. I love that. I'm going to move into a little bit of trivia and just for everybody that's listening along and watching along, we're first in the National League East right now, and we're heading into a Brave series. And of those 16 games, we end up with a Met. So, kind of, I like to be topical with these. So these are all kind of NL East centric. So, true or false, guys? The Phillies have won the most NL East championships all time.
False.
Do you know who is in first place? We're in second place.
NLE. I mean, I'm thinking the Pirates.
Not the Pirates.
The Braves are easy. I can't remember. Is it the
Yeah.
Braves?
14. We got 11. Braves got 14. When was the last time the Mutts won the NL East?
That was only a couple years ago, I think.
Your definition and my definition of a couple years might be different. But.
Okay.
When was the last time? I don't know. Maybe we erased this from our memory. I don't know. I'll say whatever COVID year was. I don't know. No, because the Braves have won it for like fucking 10 years in a row.
Yeah.
So this, I don't know, 2001.
Nope. 10 years ago was right.
2015.
2015, correct.
Okay.
Last one I got here is the Phillies have 2 World Series wins. How many do the Philadelphia / Kansas City / Oakland A's have? And I'll make this multiple guess. A is 3, B is 6, C is 8, and D is 9.
So say that again, because
Sure. So we have 2 World Series wins as the Philadelphia Phillies.
championships, not wins. Okay. All right.
Sorry,
That's what I was getting. Yeah. Because I was like, wait.
Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Oakland all combined as the A's. A3, B6, C8, B9.
I'm gonna say 8. I'm gonna say 8.
Did you say 9, Chris?
Yeah.
9 is correct, D.
Yeah, because it's like they won the A's and Oakland's won 3 in 72, 73, 74. And I'm like, Connie Mack won it in like, I don't know, 1840, 1911, 1925. We're getting long in the tooth, so I'm just going to, kind of put this out there. I'm very surprised that there's been so many 4-hitters. As you know, 7 + 2 or 7 and 2, there's been 9 games. We've already had JT, Max, Kyle, and, boom. I don't know who the right answer is, but I can tell you who it's not out of that group. It's not JT. To me, it's not Bohm. I don't think that he's the 4-hitter that I want. I want a 4-hitter that can still thump and hit a home run. I appreciate that he could hit it, an occasional home run, but if he hits 20 home runs, it's a great year for Bohm. I think you have to stick with the left-hander, Max or Kyle, and that's the worrisome part, right? Because then that's why they're like, all right, we're putting Bryce at 2, and so we can put another right-handed guy, and maybe it should be Bryce, Bohm, Kyle. If you still want to do that left, right, left. I don't give a shit about left, right, left, honestly. I don't think it's important. To me, like, if you're an everyday starter and Bryce and Kyle are, you should be able to hit lefties or righties. So to me, it's not that big of a deal. But what do you guys think? Who's your 4-hitter?
I'm going to say something even other people might not agree with. I think it's time to say fuck this experiment and just go back and just let Schwarber lead off every game again. Because it's when they switch to Turner leading off that Harper moves to 2. And if he doesn't like hitting 2, I ain't fucking with Bryce Harper. Put Bryce Harper in the 3-hole where he's most comfortable and build the lineup around that. And if you want to stay out of the left situation, that means Schwarber's got to lead off. Schwarber, Turner, Harper. I'm putting Castellanos 4. I think he has the most power out of those other 2 righties that you mentioned, Bohm and Realmuto, and he'll give Harper the most protection of a right-handed hitter. Because I think that's part of the problem. I don't think Harper's protected right now, and teams can throw that slop left, slider away to him, and he's jumping at it. because he's not getting challenged with fastballs right now. So he's a little jumpy because we're going to make him chase, or we'll walk. Who gives a shit? Let's not let Bryce Harper hurt us, make that 4-hole hitter, hurt us if it's Bohm or, or Realmuto or who Kepler, I think whoever they put behind him has to be someone that makes Bryce better.
So if we're not scared of left, I like Schwarber in the 4-hole because he gives the same kind of protection. Bryce is going to see better pitches because Schwarber just it was an absolute bomb. You guys saw it.
Yeah.
He's got 40-something home runs, 48 a couple years ago. I don't know. If we're not scared of left, I put Schwarber in the 4-hole.
I'm not, but I think Thompson is. Thompson, he likes that all the way through the lineup, right, left, until he runs out and he can't, do it anymore. And you got to stop Marsh back to back and at the tail end. I would love it. I would put Schwarber 4. I have no problem with that. But I think if you're if you want a righty protecting Harper, my guy's Castellanos.
I think it's time to move Stott to 1 if they're going to kind of do this experiment. Let's keep Schwarber. I just like that static lineup, guys. But that's, again, maybe an old school thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
Yeah, you see with the Dodgers, I mean, obviously Ohtani's not the prototypical leadoff guy, and a lot of teams have done that. I mean, Aaron Judge will bat second sometimes for the Yankees. Like, it's weird. It's just weird the way they do things now. Like I said, it's just not the way we I have my idea of a lineup, and it's not the way they do it anymore.
Yeah.
But,
so I guess let's wrap it up and let's hear what you guys have to say. But before we do, I just want to say, that Schwarber bomb that you mentioned, Mike and Chris. So, I did that thing where I caught it out back, and there's these people online that are like, oh, that's the same thing as last year. Why do you post it? Because it's our fucking page.
Yeah.
And it's fucking funny to me.
It's so funny.
It's funny to me. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I really caught it, or hey, I just did this now. It's funny.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any less funny. It's the same reason why you use memes and GIFs or GIFs or whatever you want to call them that may be 50 or 100 or 10 years old. They're funny. It's funny. It amuses us. So that's why we do it.
Yeah, no, I'm good. And I laugh at it every time.
Yeah, it's
every time.
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll wrap up, Mike. You go. You can go after I do, because I know you got important stuff to say. I don't. I just want to say, opening day down at the ballpark was a lot of fun. It was great seeing everybody. It was great to be back down at the ballpark, getting to see everybody again, hand out some stickers and magnets and koozies and whatever else we had to give out, share a couple beers with some people. And I look forward to doing it several more times. And let's go fuck the Phils, fuck the Braves.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're wrapping up one of the longest that I can remember. You guys can tell me charity events this week. So this is my last week, guys, for my treatments. We'll know Thursday if I can ring the bell. Got my scan last Friday. The results will be in Thursday. So this is the last week. I think we'll probably run it through Friday, right, guys? Something like that. And then we'll wrap it up. You guys know, go to our Facebook and hit the shop.
No, we'll do it through Saturday because we're going to Boyle. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll go through Saturday. And, grab a sweatshirt or a T-shirt. I saw one live. My buddy Freddie Love had one on the 3rd when we went down to CVP, and they look really sharp. Little insignia on the shoulder, and more importantly, we're going to take those funds and we're going to do a presentation. We're probably going to Facebook Live it, so stay tuned in the next few weeks as I get a hold of the right people at the CCA, and we're going to donate those funds, and they're going to use them for 2 things: awareness and research. So on the awareness front, if you're on this call or you know somebody in your family, your friends that's 45 years old or older and have gotten a colonoscopy, have them schedule it stat. It could save their life. I did mine late, 6 years late, and thankfully caught it in stage 2. But if I didn't do that, it could have gotten really, really bad. So thank you, everyone, for your support. I saw those few things that Chris just threw up there. Appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Hit that shop now button this week. Let's get as much awareness and research money as we can for the CCA. And stay tuned. We'll have more info on a walk coming up in the fall. So over to you, Chris.
Cool. Yeah. I'm excited for 16 games in 16 days. I know what I'm watching and doing because that's kind of what DPF is, right? We're in the moment, watching the game with you, giving our off the cuff, in the moment comments. I enjoy every moment of it. I enjoy giving the care button at times. We're not going to kind of talk back. And if sometimes this page isn't for you, and that's okay. The other thing that I wanted to say is we have some really cool guests coming up. So we have RK Sports coming on next podcast. After that, we have Porch Beers USA. We're trying to get local Phillies podcasts and groups on because what's the fucking purpose? We're not fighting against them. We're going for the same thing, right? We want the Phillies to win. So we can raise each other up and do the right thing. It's awesome. And, if people are assholes, we can band together against assholes too. So there's always those strength in numbers. 16 games, I need 11-5 guys, but I'll accept 10-6. So
I'm not accepting 10-6 because you're gonna be pissed off 6 days. So I'd rather do 11-5.
Renee just gave a like to that, so because she knows. Because after the Dodgers lost, I was a fucking miserable asshole all day, and as opposed to just being an asshole. So, all right, thanks everyone. We will be back. I don't know. We're back the 17th because of this long stretch. So, but it's on Facebook. I don't remember what fucking date it was. Have a good night, everyone. Go ahead, Chris.
17th. That is it. 17th.
Right.
Yep.
Fuck the Mets. Fuck the Braves. Fuck the Cardinals. Fuck Scott Rowland. Have a good night.